Okay, chapter 7.3, the unit circle. These are pages 12 and 13. Really, we're going to discuss 12. 13 kind of wraps it up, so there's not much to say about 13 right now. So we want to use the symmetries in the unit circle and kind of make sense of where things are positive, where things are negative. So just a reminder, this is quadrant 1, and then we go counterclockwise. So quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. And we're honestly right now just going to look at these signs. In quadrant 1, and you'll notice that the table over here matches what we have in the unit circle. Quadrant 1 we're looking at. X and Y are both positive. R is also positive. R is always positive. Okay, so quadrant 2, our X is in the negative, so that's going to the left. So X is negative, Y is positive. Again, R, that radius, is positive. Quadrant 3, now we're down here where both X is negative and Y is negative. So I've got a negative X, I've got a negative Y. Again, my R is still positive, that radius. Quadrant 4, we're back to where X is positive. We're below the X-axis, so Y is negative. And then our R is positive. Okay. So we want to take a look at what happens to the trig ratios in each of those quadrants. So we are taking a look at our 3 basic trig ratios. Quadrant 1, Y is positive, R is positive, so our sign is always positive. In quadrant 1, cosine, X is positive, R is positive, so the cosine is positive. And in the tangent, the Y is positive, the X is positive, so tangent's always positive. Pretty easy to remember. In quadrant 1, everything's positive. Quadrant 2, our sign, we've got a positive Y and a positive R, so our sign is positive in quadrant 2. Our cosine, though, X is negative. R is positive. So our cosine in quadrant 2 is going to be negative. Our tangent, we've got a positive Y, a negative X, so we've got a negative tangent. Okay? As long as either sine or cosine is negative, our tangent will be negative. So let's take a look at quadrant 3. We've got a negative Y, positive R, so our sign is negative. We've got a negative X, positive R, so our cosine is negative. We have a negative Y and a negative X, which makes our tangent positive in the 3rd quadrant. Quadrant 4, Y is negative, R is positive, the sign is negative. For cosine, our X is positive, our R is positive, so our cosine is positive. And for tangent, we've got that negative Y, positive X, so our tangent's going to be negative. So you noticed when we talked about the reference angles, that helps us find the sine and cosine value for angles in different quadrants. This is going to help us go the opposite way. If we know the sine, we can place an angle in a certain quadrant. Really quick, page 13, just a quick run through of what we just went over.